Welcome here to another video on the YouTube channel. Now we're back here working on our 2003 Ford Ranger. Today we're going to deal with some of our axles. As you can see, the front and the rear is kind of just sat where they're about to be. Not perfect, but we have goodies here. We got two boxes from TMR Customs, and then we got this other box here from Big Shocks. So leave it. I'm gonna get this stuff unboxed here quick, and we'll see you guys soon. Alright, there we go. So we have our front axle truss, we have the rear axle truss, and then we have all our Heim joints. So I actually want to give a big shout out here to bigshocks.com. These guys are out of the States, but they were the cheapest people to actually get Heim joints from. I don't exactly remember where these guys are located, but for shipping to where I live, actually really reasonable. It was about 80 bucks. And they were the cheapest people to buy 1.25" Heim joints from. So they actually sent out the koozies and the stickers. That's a huge bonus, you know. Just shows how good of a company they are to buy stuff from. But these Heim joints, so they come without the misalignment spacers. So you have to buy a package of these. They come with 32. This kit actually came with 16 Heim joints. So you got 8 left-hand threads and 8 right-hand threads. The lefts, they got that nice laser etch on them, which is kind of a cool touch. Just kind of makes that product look a little bit better. But with the misalignments installed, nice tight fit. So these will be a 3/4 inch hole, meaning we're going to be running 3/4 inch bolts. And then the sleeves on these are a Welding style sleeve. So this will be an 1.5" OD. So it'll fit inside our 2-inch. Yeah, what did we get? 2-inch, 1/2" wall. So that means 1.5" tube it'll fit in, or the ID it'll fit. I've already tested it on the tubing we have. Very nice tight fit, which is more than I could ever want. It's not sloppy, so the machining is actually pretty decent. So all in all, between the misalignment spacers and the Heim joints and shipping, it was $1,000 for me to get what you see there. And of course the koozies, nice touch, really kind of nice. It's almost like a, I don't know what you would call it, like a rubber that's put on there. Kind of cool, but we'll be using those once we're driving a Ranger. On to the trusses from TMR Customs. Now, just to clarify, this is not paid by either Big Shocks or TMR Customs. No partnerships at the moment with either of them. So this is just my opinion on, you know, what you see here. Kind of disappointed. I was expecting stickers with the TMR Custom stuff, but you know what? It's not the end of the day. Very happy with how these came. As you can see, they're all plasma cut or laser cut out, and either plasma cut or water cut, either or. Really nice, you know, craftsmanship on these. You got your alignment holes, so everything's kind of gated and it all goes together. I haven't set them on the axles yet, but we will figure that out here sooner than later. But nice heavy material, and just they go in ahead and they polish everything so there's no sharp edges. Just real nice work that they have. So that's our front, and this will be the rear. If you want, I'll put the part numbers in the description below if you guys want to go get these. Fairly reasonable. I believe with the 2 axle trusses shipping, it was right around $700, and that is Canadian. So fairly decent. We'll see how they fit. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go hop into my cover or my overalls and throw a hoodie on, and we'll get to welding. All right, we're gonna be starting here on our rear axle. Now this is out of our 2005-2006 F350. Now the reason I'm starting with the rear axle, just because it's going to be a lot less work. The axle's a lot less, or a lot more stripped. But we have to go ahead, cut off our mounting tabs for the leaf springs. So there's 2 welds on each side of those. Knock those off, clean off our brake lines. I have to take and figure out what we have to do with our vent there as well. But we'll get this knocked out, cut everything, and then I'll buff the entire axle here and get it ready for welding. Okay, here we go. So we got the rear axle truss just set on our axle here. So I went ahead, I knocked off our brackets for the leaf spring pads. Got this set on here. I just kind of wanted to see where it would sit, what all we have to get rid of. Now we do have these nubs, so I'm probably gonna knock this nub off. There's a nub there that I'm gonna knock off. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna mark here with a paint pen where this is gonna sit and then polish all that, because we will be welding pretty much all in through here. So I'm gonna go ahead, get it situated, and I'll pretty much trace out exactly where all the welds are gonna be, and then I'll really polish those just so we get a good strong weld. I wasn't sure how it was gonna sit, if we'd have to level it, but there's not too much, like there's maybe a couple degrees that you can change that. So I'm gonna kind of just make sure everything's square, and we'll tack it into place. Of course, here's the back. The only thing I'm a little not happy about is right here would be the old vent. So I'm gonna have to plug that and weld over top of it, because obviously it's no good now, because that'll sit there. But we can always take and just put our vent right here on our case, which is just as fine. It still does its job. So, it is what it is. I just shut the door here to give myself a little bit more light, just with the camera inside. But I'll go up, I'll mark this, I'll get it prepped, and we'll get to welding. So there we go, we got everything prepped. I went ahead and cleaned up everywhere we're gonna have to weld. Now on the cast here, it's a little harder to get, but we're nice and clean. It's still gonna get a good weld. I don't see an issue with that. But we set the truss on here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack these long pieces in place in a couple spots. And then I'm gonna pull the top part off. I'm gonna weld just where these mount to the tubes, and then I can set this back on, but I don't want to have it just because there's a width. So I'm going to leave this on, tack it in place, and then we'll be able to set it back on, and we won't have any issues getting these just lined up, since they joint together the way they do. Now that it sits up a little bit, but it's okay on that because we got it on both. It leaves us a gap. For our vent, I know I said I had to deal with that, so you guys probably saw I put a 7/16 bolt in, which is the wrong pitch, so it kind of cross-threaded its way in there. I did that on purpose so it won't have the tendency to go through. Screwed it in, cut it flush, welded it, and now it's hid there, so we won't have an issue with that anymore. I got rid of those other nubs, but I'm gonna go ahead, get this tacked into place, and then really, I have a lot of welding. You got to weld a lot of joint on that. So enjoy the next montage of welding. Alright, there we go. Got this thing all fully welded out. I gave it a little bit here, let it cool down, but really happy. Nice welds on it. Kind of took my time, just working back and forth on this thing. So you probably saw me, I'd start on this side, then jump, go to that side, just trying to evenly bring heat into it. I didn't want to work one side too much, warp the thing, so took my time, got it done. With the little bit of prep that I had to do on the axle, that was maybe half hour, but spent pretty much 2 hours fully welding this thing on. So really nice, the material really easy, was able to put a lot of heat in. Kind of changed settings a couple times on it, on the welder, but got it pretty much where I wanted it, and really happy. Also welding to the cast here, I thought was going to be a little tricky, but it seemed to take the heat really well, and I'm pretty happy with how that welded out. But there you go. So I'm going to cut this video off here. Come back next time. We'll actually be doing the front TMR Customs brace on the Dana 60 front axle that we have. So I would do it, but we got a bunch of work on that and a bunch of fitment, and I kind of want to walk you guys through what we have to do, because there's a little bit of cutting to the case that we have to do just to fit it. So come back next time, we'll see that, but thanks for watching.